Hi, I'm Bob Hill and I'm the president of the Church of Scientology Mission of Riverdale at 308 Broadview Avenue in Toronto. Scientology is a practical religion. It teaches a person how to know. In fact, that's what the word Scientology means, knowing how to know. So the information that I impart to you every week at the sermon, what I'm hoping for is some part of it you can grasp, and it will help you how to know things around you better. Good. Now, can you as an individual make this world a better place? Can you play forward goodness and happiness? Well, today's sermon is based on the writings of L. Ron Hubbard from the book, The Way to Happiness, a common sense guide to a better living. This may help you with that. Now, there is a phenomena, an interesting phenomena, at work in human relations. When one person yells at another, the other has an impulse to yell back. You probably have felt that way. One is treated pretty much the way he treats others. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, look it over what you've seen in life. You see a guy who's really mean to people. Well, generally people are mean to him. But you see this other guy and he's friendly to everyone. Well, everybody that sees the guy is friendly to him. It's interesting. Could be the shopkeeper down the street. He's a really nice person, so people like to go in and talk to him. And the guy next door, well, he's kind of mean and yelling at people to get out from the front of his store, and you find out that his store is empty. So one is treated pretty much the way he treats others. One actually sets an example of how he should be treated. A is mean to B, so B is mean to A. A is friendly to B, so B is friendly to A. I'm sure you've seen this at work continuously. George hates all women, so women tend to hate George. Carlos acts tough to everyone, so others tend to act tough towards Carlos. And if they don't dare out in the open, then privately, they may nurse a hidden impulse to act very tough indeed towards Carlos if they get a chance. So you're following along with me? Now it can also go along with, you could have a person who's 40 years older than people he's talking to. However, he's in communication with the people and he's not pushing forward, I'm old and I can't think that way. And so he's not treated that way. He's treated just like he's in communication. It's an interesting phenomenon. In the unreal world of fiction and the motion pictures, one sees polite villains with unbelievably efficient gangs and lone heroes who are outright boors. A boor is a person who lacks manners and refinement. Life really isn't like that. Real villains are usually pretty crude people, and their henchmen are even cruder. Napoleon is an example, and Hitler. They were betrayed right and left by their own people. Real heroes are the quietest talking fellows you ever met, and they are very polite to their friends. When one is lucky enough to get to meet and talk to the men and women who are at the top of their professions, one is struck by an observation often made that they are just about the nicest people you ever met. Now I'm going to give you an exact example of that. I run a company, I'll be honest with you, during the day, and in that company I try to treat people well. Well, there was a fellow who worked for me from Ireland, and he was having a tough go of things, so I kind of gave him a lot of breaks and I gave him advice, helped him out until he had to go back to Ireland. I hadn't talked to the guy in a year, and I thought, okay, he's gone back to Ireland. And He was pretty good with me. Well, who do I get a phone call from Friday? I get a phone call from the guy, from him and his sister, who I've never met. And they were asking me for advice on what they should do about certain things in their life. And I was kind of taken aback by it, and I thought, man, I guess, did I really have that good of a communication with these people where they were now treating me so nicely? And sure enough, they were. So I guess some of that had worn off on the guy enough that he was coming to me to get advice about what to do, because where he is in Ireland, it's quite rough right now with the pandemic and so on. So I gave them some advice. They were totally happy about it, very validative, and off they went. And that's an example. In my profession and in what I do, I'm at the top of that, and that's how I treat people. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I'm merely using it as an example for you. So that is one of the reasons they are at the top. They try, most of them, to treat others well. And those around them respond and tend to treat them well and even forgive their few shortcomings. All right, one can work out for himself the human virtues just by recognizing how he himself would like to be treated. So think about that one. So if you would like to know how people should act or how they should react, well, think about how would you like to be treated, and if others reflected that to you, then that would give you a concept of what the human virtues may be. And from that, I think you will agree, one has settled any confusions as to what good conduct really is. It's a far cry from being inactive, sitting still with your hands in your lap and saying nothing. Being good can be a very active and powerful force. There is little joy to be found in gloomy, restrained solemnity. Solemnity means like being withdrawn and quiet and hiding somewhere on a mountaintop. When some of old made it seem that to practice virtue required a grim and dismal sort of life, they tended to infer that all pleasure came from being wicked. Now you say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, if you have to withdraw and go and live in some faraway place where you don't have to talk to people and you just sit under a tree and think of nothing or forget about people or anything like that, then you're saying that you've been nothing but wicked and that's all you're going to see. But if you are really honest with yourself and really try to function, then you would try to treat others the way you would like to be treated, and that truly would be the path to leading a better life. So nothing could be further from the facts. The concept that you have to be wicked and withdraw is very far from the facts. Joy and pleasure do not come from immorality. Quite the reverse. Joy and pleasure arise only in honest hearts. The immoral lead unbelievably tragic lives filled with suffering and pain. Now you might be listening to this and you might even remember times when you were immoral. How did you feel? You didn't feel happy. You didn't feel like, oh my God, I've been immoral. How great that was. What a phenomenal pleasure I had in that. No. If you had any sense, you wanted to try and change it. So no one wants to lead an immoral life and have tragedy filled with suffering and pain. The human virtues have little to do with gloominess. They are the bright face to life itself. Isn't that interesting? Contrary to common belief. So if you lead a good life, try to treat others the way you'd like to be treated, try and set examples, and try and move your life ahead like that, you'll find out you'll be much happier. You'll probably have a lot more people willing to communicate to you. You'll probably find that life is more joyful to you, that you find pleasure in simple things. and you'll get along quite well. All right? Good. So that's it for today's sermon. What I'm going to do now is read you the Creed of the Church of Scientology. The Creed of the Church of Scientology falls very much in line with how you would like to be treated and how you would want others to treat you. So keep that in mind. We of the Church believe that all men of whatever race, color, or creed were created with equal rights. That all men have inalienable rights to their own religious practices and their performance. That all men have inalienable rights to their own lives. That all men have inalienable rights to their sanity. That all men have inalienable rights to their own defense. That all men have inalienable rights to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, and governments. That all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others. That all men have inalienable rights to the creation of their own kind. That the souls of men have the rights of men. That the study of the mind and the healing of mentally caused ills should not be alienated from religion or condoned in non-religious fields. And that no agency less than God has the power to suspend or set aside these rights overtly or covertly. And we of the Church believe that man is basically good, that he is seeking to survive, that his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. And we of the Church believe that the laws of God forbid man to destroy his own kind, to destroy the sanity of another, to destroy or enslave another's soul, to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companions or one's group. And we of the Church believe that the spirit can be saved and that the spirit alone may save or heal the body. Now the beauty of that creed is that when you're referring to man as a spirit, there's no color bar, there's no class distinction, there's no place in society. He's simply a spirit, and he's basically good. And so with that message, I hope you can carry forward on your day. You have the power to play forward goodness and happiness. You can do that. Try it. By play forward, I mean be nice to someone today. Try to make people happy today in your own way and see if that can move forward. Use this to improve your life and life to others. Now you can learn more about this by reading the book The Way to Happiness and help yourself and others. So join us next Sunday for more ways to improve your life. Thank you.